Why is Pokémon marketed towards kids? I mean, okay, you play as a 10-year-old in the games, the advertisements all have kids in them, and the mechanics and the difficulty settings of the games have been turned down dramatically. Aside from the occasional creepy Pokédex entries and mentions of death, Pokémon as a franchise is all around family-friendly, but really is mostly associated as a kids game and anime. It's for kids. This strategy has been massively effective in the long run, making more and more money for the Pokémon franchise each year, but honestly, the franchise's potential is being wasted. I'm Professor Hazel, coming to you with another video. In this one, I'm going to go into the marketing strategies of the Pokémon company and what they could do to make it better. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think below. It really helps out a lot. Let's get into it. All of you know the history of Pokémon, but since this is a YouTube video, I'm explaining it anyway. One fateful February day in 1996 Japan, Pokémon Red and Green were born. These RPG video games were created by Satoshi Tajiri and his team of like 9 people. The game featured 151 unique collectible monsters, and your goal as the player was to catch them all and fight alongside them to defeat obstacles, ultimately becoming the best Pokémon trainer. All subsequent games since then have largely had the same formula, with small changes and/or improvements. And improvements is debatable. Now that we're all a little clued in as to what the games are about, not that you didn't know before, who is this franchise actually made for? Obviously, the gameplay is pretty linear. The difficulty in the later set games is null, and most of their protagonists are literal elementary school kids. The obvious answer to who is this marketed towards is children, but that's not really the only answer. Due to phenomena like nostalgia and in some cases mature themes, Pokémon as a franchise is pretty cross-generational. Especially with the rise of Pokémon Go in 2016, Game Freak realized the potential of marketing their experiences to a wider breadth of people. But due to the 20 years of marketing themselves towards kids at that point, and the mainline games after that being, in some circles, regarded as baby fodder difficulty-wise, it's hard to know where Game Freak truly stands. Hopefully, as we continue, we'll know the answer to the question. What makes their marketing effective? Before we get into the meat of tackling the issue of their confusing target audience, let's take a second to review the 3 persuasion tactics. Let me brush up on my 8th grade English class knowledge. Let me just find my notes. Okay, the 3 persuasion techniques used in all advertising are ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is the appeal to authority, stuff like Christina Aguilera, a famous singer-songwriter, and her family promoting the Nintendo Switch and showing Legends Arceus in the first few seconds. This is supposed to show the audience that obviously since their favorite celebrities love the product, they should too. Logos is the persuasive technique where you appeal to the audience's logic. It usually uses facts or sound ideas to make things make sense. This one was a little difficult to find an example of, but I think this fits pretty well. One of Pokémon Go's commercials, Pokémon Go, Get Up and Go, seems to take a more health-based approach. It appeals to the audience's logic by showcasing all of the benefits of using the app. Someone jogging, seeing the beautiful outdoors, and generally being healthier is what the commercial conveys. This is a pretty logical reason to play Pokémon Go, all things considered. And finally, the last technique, pathos. By far the largest persuasive technique the Pokémon company uses to convince their audience. This persuasion technique appeals to the audience's emotions and absolutely tugs on their heartstrings. The best example of this I could find is the Sword and Shield New Era of Pokémon Begins trailer. This one goes through real people turning on their Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, and 3DS. Pokémon from every generation come running from each real-life region and unite in the middle, framing the young adults that stand. They're proudly holding up their consoles, and then each of them turn into the Nintendo Switch. Nostalgia at its finest, people. They proudly showcase each milestone in Pokémon history in a sort of look how far we've come type of way. Even the comments agree that the trailer makes them reminisce. It appears as though pathos is everywhere. Nostalgia is a really hard thing to conquer. The good old days of childhood, when everything was simpler, we had little responsibility and we could just explore and enjoy life to its fullest. That has definitely been Pokémon Company's moneymaker. When they aren't showcasing kids playing with the latest Nintendo consoles or fast food toys, they are showing adults enjoying their good old days. They often portray young families or adults in their 30s giving the toys and games to their literal toddlers. This isn't a bad thing at all, but it's really fascinating to actually take a look into. The thing is, their marketing is absolutely working. They first took a chokehold on millennials and never let go. And honestly, millennials, I'm low-key jealous you got to play the Gen 1 games when they released. As of 2021, the Pokémon Company's revenue is over 90 billion USD, destroying the big-eared mouse over in Anaheim with only 70 million. 70 million, not billion. The Pokémon Company themselves have said that the franchise is for everyone, but it's clear that, in their games at least, it's heavily shoved onto kids. Despite what the commercials portray, their real big money ticket isn't even the games themselves, but the merch. Think about it. How much Pokémon merch do you own? Tally it up, and for a lot of you, I guarantee it's more than the cost of all of the games you bought at retail. Appealing to a wider audience allows people of all ages to buy more merchandise, and the cute or cool little critters are more marketable themselves that way too. So, what's wrong with their marketing? $90 billion in revenue is hardly a waste of potential, monetarily speaking. On the surface, nothing is wrong with their marketing. It appeals to so many people. Each Pokémon is unique, and there's truly something for everyone. The game ads generally capture that need for adventure and the excitement you feel when you have the ocean breeze under your nose or the rustling forest leaves above. The merch is cute, decorative, and serves its purpose. The issue comes with the fact that it kind of lies to you, and it's pretty confusing. If you haven't noticed already, I think of Pokémon, the franchise, as a fence-sitter. It wants both hands in the lucrative target audience honeypot, and it tries its best to market itself to both simultaneously. This kind of makes it confusing and opens it up to a ton of debate. On one hand, the series is family-oriented, able to be enjoyed by everyone. We have palatable storylines for anyone and also hidden, more mature themes with a competitive scene that is pretty dominated by older teens and adults. So many content creators like myself are adults too. On the other hand, the anime exists, and so too does the brain-dead, quote-unquote, quality of life mechanics you can't shut off in the games. I'm looking at you, experience share. The anime one is weird. It is so westernized and so marketed towards kids that I've literally seen and heard debates of Pokémon simply not being an anime at all. Just an animated kids show that happens to be made in Japan, I guess? I actually really liked the anime, and I don't agree with that, but it's pretty clear who the majority of the target audience is. My point is that it appeals to everyone and yet doesn't do enough in the ways that count. There's an entire half of that audience that has generally been feeling a little left out. Granted, as I mentioned, the merch makes a lot more than the games themselves, and that everyone can absolutely enjoy equally. For reference, the toys, plush dolls, shirts, and other non-game stuff made about $64 billion as of 2019. The games made about $17 billion, and while $64 billion is absolutely much higher than $17 billion, the merchandise would stop selling after a while if the games and anime didn't continue on. There would simply be no more Pokémon or regions to make merch of, and even if it was all Gen 1, zero new content or reboots, that would eventually stop the cash flow. The fact is, the Pokémon Company has so much potential with the older audiences that they're wasting with nothing but pathos nostalgia tactics. Exploring even more mature themes outside of the Pokédex entries in the form of a new, darker anime or just upping the production value of the games themselves could help a lot. I think maintaining that kid-friendly branding is absolutely possible and should be used, while still growing with its older audience. If a huge name like Star Wars can do the opposite, going from an adult-targeted movie to TV shows like Young Jedi Adventures, surely a distinction is possible. In fact, it could be argued that they've done it before. From the official Pokémon YouTube channel before the release of Legends Arceus, they put out a video teasing the release of Hisuian Zora and Zoroark. It's a pretty dark video that brings an air of maturity and almost horror to the Pokémon franchise. Basically, the researcher is in a found footage type scenario and seems to get attacked by a Zoroark. By the end of it, we don't truly know what happens to him. I must not be the only one when I say this was effective. Although the video is marketed on YouTube for kids, I think it's a perfect idea of what we could get in the future if the Pokémon company chose to. Same could be said for Pokémon Go Ultra Beast trailers. It wasn't graphic, it didn't show the violence, but it allowed us, the audience, to infer what happened and make our own answers through a dark and pretty thrilling couple of minutes. I wish they added more of that to their games and anime. They did a really good job. If they chose to really make some campaigns dedicated to a harsher side of the series while still maintaining a PG to PG-13 rating, I guarantee they could make even more money. It's a waste to only market to your older audiences by nostalgia. Give us something to be excited about, not reminiscent over. Allow us to have adventures that are more impactful, more mature, and more us. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love Pokémon, and that's why I have this channel. I'm just saying, with the current trend of mainline games and the anime not holding as much power as it used to, I can't help but think that I'm growing out of the true target demographic. But I don't have to be. We don't have to be. I really think that they could turn it around. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day. Until next time, trainers!